Could Steph Curry be requesting a trade from the Golden State Warriors? It might be a little bit far-fetched here, but Thursday in late August, I think it's at least worthy to talk about because he did something very interesting to his public Instagram bio. I am Nick Roloff. This is NBA Now by Chat Sports. And you might be asking where we're even deriving this from. And yes, it might be a little bit of a stretch, but prior to the NBA Olympics, this is what Steph Curry's Instagram bio looked like. You see his profile picture, you see the believer, father, husband, founder, philanthropist, and guard for the Warriors. But then after the Olympics, he has changed it to this. Same start, but and Olympic gold medalist. Now, this could be a minor change just to showcase himself as he's very prideful of winning gold for Team USA at the 2024 Paris Olympics, but could it also be leading to a little bit of a stray shot at the Golden State Warriors? And this isn't the first time that we have maybe overreacted to a sports figure changing their social media handle or bio or whatever you want to call it. But either way, I think it's something that could raise a bigger question, and we'll talk about Curry requesting a trade because it's not going to happen, and I'll hammer that home right here in just a second. But it does make me spark a question about the Golden State Warriors as a whole that I do want to talk about. But make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Last week, our highest subscribed video when it came to the NBA content was 20 subscribers. I'd like to beat it this week and get 25. If you want us to continue to bring you weekly content around the NBA, even in September, when there's really nothing going around the NBA, make sure you hit that sub button and show our bosses that you want more content. All right, here it is. Steph Curry is not going to request a trade from the Golden State Warriors. It just simply isn't going to happen. There's just too much, I guess, history there, if you want to put it that way, between the two. So much success. He is the face of the Golden State Warriors. There will never be a player that is the face of the Golden State Warriors. And that's really the truth, too, if you think about it. You might say he is not as good as Wilt Chamberlain, who also played for the Golden State Warriors, but Steph Curry is the Golden State Warriors. Now, he's not requesting a trade, but he should apply pressure to the front office to upgrade this roster because this team right now simply just isn't it, in my opinion. Sure, it's cool. It'll be sneaky competitive, like a 500 team, maybe slightly below 500. But I don't believe that the roster Golden State is putting together right now is anything that can make a deep run of the postseason or compete. I do like the sneaky small additions of Buddy Hield and De'Anthony Melton. I think those are just around the edges moves that will make you slightly better. I think Buddy Hield can give you the same impact that Klay Thompson gave you, so I don't even think his loss in replacing with Buddy Hield is that hard. But you're really banking on Jonathan Kuminga and Brandin Podziemski taking another step in a big way because who's this team's second best player? No, seriously. Is it Jonathan Kuminga? It's not Andrew Wiggins. He played horrible last year. Are they banking on those two young guys to really take that next step? That's my biggest question on Golden State. And when you think of what they have on paper right now, what is the ceiling? It might be the roof. If you know, you know. But either way, I don't see them being a team that can win a playoff series. I legitimately think that the Golden State Warriors ceiling right now is a first-round playoff exit. And that is their ceiling. I might project them to miss the play-in altogether, and if they do make the play-in, likely going to happen what happened last year against Sacramento, where they got ran out of the building and Klay Thompson looked like an absolute clown. I just don't believe that this team is going to be anything special this season unless they make a massive trade for someone right now or in the middle of the year before the NBA trade deadline. But am I wrong? Be honest with me. You could tell me down in the comment section if I'm a little too harsh on this Golden State Warriors team. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I want to know your thoughts. Will Golden State make the playoffs? Type Y for yes or type N for no. As I mentioned, I think they are a play-in team at best, and play-in isn't the postseason, by the way. I have had a take in the past that I would count as the playoffs, but I'm not going to. They are a play-in team at best. And you might tell me, well, how are the Warriors a play-in team at best? Just look at what happened last season. OKC, Denver, Minnesota, LA, Dallas, Phoenix, Los Angeles, New Orleans, and Sacramento all finished higher and better in the standings than the Golden State Warriors. And if we're going to be honest here, folks, there is only one team that finished above Golden State last season that I could spin that it might not happen this year. And that is the Clippers after losing Paul George, because they could legitimately be bad if Kawhi Leonard gets injured, James Harden regresses. I don't like the Clippers roster. So really, there's one team out of the 9 ahead of them that might fall back. The other 9 are continuing to ascend and continuing to put together rosters that are better than Golden State. But here's the issue that I have right now as well. You think of the Houston Rockets, the Memphis Grizzlies, and the San Antonio Spurs, all as teams that are improving and potentially pushing the Warriors to get into the play-in. Do I think the Spurs are going to make the play-in this year? Probably not. I think they're just going to be missing out. But who knows? If Devin Vassell really takes another step forward, him and Victor Wembanyama could be a great duo to lead San Antonio to a play-in. The Grizzlies, I would project to be a play-in team at worst. Ja Morant, full season. Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane. I think the Grizzlies are going to be a really good basketball team this year. I would project them to win 45 games at bare minimum, and 45 games would absolutely be enough to get you into the play-in. And the Rockets just missed out last year. If they get no more steps forward from their young guys, they could be pushing Golden State. Like, there are teams that I believe might be pushing Golden State Warriors out of the play-in race, which could make them a team that is picking inside the top 10. And my question is, which we'll dive into a little bit more in just a second, is Steph Curry going to want to hang out and play on Golden State when they are not at a championship caliber level team? Well, before we get into that, we are sponsored by PrizePicks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app in North America. I play it every single day. You should too. It makes watching sports so much more fun, and PrizePicks is so easy to play. All you do is pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you can watch the winnings roll in. More than 5 million people play PrizePicks on a daily basis, your boy included. And the reason why I love playing PrizePicks is because they have something for everyone. You can do basketball, you can do football, you can do hockey, baseball, fighting, golf. It doesn't matter. You can customize your entry to mix between sport leagues. But you can also mix between season-long projections and daily projections. Like, for example, I'm looking at basketball this year, right? I got more than Bam Adebayo, 9.9 rebounds per game. More than Jalen Brunson, 6.8 assists per game. And then less than on the #1 overall pick, Zachary Risachet, 10.2 points per game. That is a 3-player entry that wins 5 times my money, but you can win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct entries. Yes, you can turn $10 into $1,000 with PrizePicks, the best daily fantasy sports app. So get started today. Download the app. Use code CLNS to get a first deposit match up to $100. You can also go into the description and comments of today's video. Click on that link, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use code CLNS when you create an account and get a first deposit match up to $100. Shout out to PrizePicks. Run your game. So if everything that I'm saying on Golden State is accurate, right, they're barely a play-in team. They have to have an incredible season and improvements from their guys internally to make the play-in. How are they going to be able to improve to get a contending team around Steph Curry? Well, Marc Stein believes they might have something up their sleeve. Golden State is plotting its next moves in the wake of an unsuccessful trade pursuit of Paul George and Lauri Markkanen in the offseason. Team officials believe they remain well-positioned for a trade upgrade at some point in the next year or so after responding to by acquiring Kyle Anderson, Buddy Hield, De'Anthony Melton on short-term deals and retaining all of their draft picks. The distinct sense at Chase Center is that the Clippers and Jazz, despite no shortage of conversation with both teams, did not really want to do business with the Warriors. So it was obvious that they tried to get Paul George, tried to get Lauri Markkanen for Steph Curry to be his running mate. But here's my thing that I'm going to tell and plead my case to Golden State. Can you please not waste Steph Curry? This is arguably the best point guard of our time. It's either him or Magic Johnson. You can pick your poison, but it's those two. And it's not really close. And he has done so much for your organization, brought you 4 NBA championships, been the face of the NBA really over the past decade with LeBron James. Do not waste his age 36, 37, 38 season when he still can be a competitive basketball player and someone at the top of this league. Get him a running mate. Get him someone that he can rely on. Get him someone that can help him win a championship or at least contend for one. Because I, for one, am not in the business of watching Steph Curry put up these highlights and crazy stats and crazy games, but it doesn't mean anything because they're 12th in the Western Conference. Please don't waste Steph Curry. Please go out and try to find someone. And that's why I was disappointed by hearing what the Warriors offered the Jazz for Lauri Markkanen, because even though they had conversation and Stein says they didn't want to do deal with Golden State, the Warriors didn't even offer either Podziemski or Kuminga, which I don't understand. If you're serious about getting Steph Curry, a player to help him try to contend, you would have tried to at least dangle one of those young guys out there. Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right, before we close out today's show, I did want to talk about this. The Phoenix Suns, they made a pair of roster moves, which I actually did think was a little bit interesting. Shams Charania had the initial note earlier this week mentioning that the Suns were waving forward Nasir Little and E.J. Liddell. Little, former lottery pick, former North Carolina Tar Heel, deemed the Zion Williamson stopper, by the way. E.J. Liddell also gone, former Ohio State Buckeye. And quick thoughts on these two guys. Not sure if they actually find a home anywhere else. Little really hasn't done anything in his NBA career. Decent defender, athlete, but he cannot score the basketball and give you anything from the perimeter. E.J. Liddell, not really anything special either. But the reason why I wanted to bring this up on the back end of today's episode is because these two young men that the Suns drafted in the first round and second round of the NBA draft back in June. Ryan Dunn out of Virginia and Oso Ighodaro, the forward from Marquette. Because these two guys are going to have to play a pretty big role on this Suns team. And I think Phoenix is going to be sneaky this year. The one thing they really struggled with last year was, one, health, because Bradley Beal could never stay on the court, and Devin Booker battled his injuries as well. KD was actually pretty consistent, playing in 70-plus games. But they also didn't have any depth on this team. But now they brought back Royce O'Neal. You add Ryan Dunn and Ighodaro through the draft. You sign Tyus Jones on a vetman contract, which might have been the steal. Like, I actually think it would behoove the Phoenix Suns to bench Bradley Beal. And bench might be a strong word, but what if they went with a lineup like this? They started Tyus Jones. They had D-Book at the 2. You have Royce O'Neal at the 3, KD at the 4, and then Yusuf Nurkic at the 5. The Bradley Beal being your leading sixth man, and he can help also with some of those other young guys in the second rotation like Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro. Really good defender, really good athlete, and cerebral forward who can really play that dunker spot well. I think the Suns are going to be a good basketball team this year. They're going to have to put their faith in some young guys on cheap contracts like these two, but to me, it signaled they have the confidence in them after getting rid of Nasir Little and E.J. Liddell. All right, that's going to do it for today's show here on NBA Now by Chat Sports. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we're bringing more daily content when it comes to the NBA. Sure, it's a dead period in late August and September, but we're still bringing content, and when the season rolls around in October, we will have you covered, so make sure you hit that sub button.